Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord. Well, the Braves didn't do their job this weekend, but the Falcons did. And Desmond Ridder, who we've been calling, the noise was getting a little loud around him. Are we gonna move to Heineke? Should we trade for someone? Yada. Guy looked like a competent NFL quarterback. 2 touchdowns, 25 yards, game-winning drive, second time in a row at home, game-winning drive. Huh? I think he just cemented himself as Atlanta's quarterback for the rest of the season with one performance.
It's crazy to say that.
But the problem is he's an indoor cat. Like we've been over this. Like he's an indoor cat. As soon as he goes on the road, this all disappears. We know it. It's literally how it's been so far. He's 5-0 at home. 0-4 on the road.
Has never lost at home in college or the NFL, which is a crazy stat. Do you think we? This is just a joke, obviously, but maybe we go to Heineke on the road and stick with Ridder. It's like the new quarterback system. It's like we've got 1-on-1. We got a home and a road guy.
That's hilarious. It might work.
I still think it's a little bit. It's
so
a little
stupid.
Bit
it might work.
Yeah, it's fool's gold, but I'd be disingenuous not to say he did have a good game. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
he had a good game.
I think that, you got to give credit where credit's due. And we were all sitting here last week saying how bad he was and how bad, this offense has really been. And they came out and completely dismantled those narratives. And people are going to say, it was only 19 points. It was only a 1-point win. The fact of the matter is the Falcons were driving. Jonnu Smith fumbled. Bijan Robinson fumbled. Let's just assume those are field goals. I mean, you feel a lot better about that if they finish those drives. In terms of on Ridder, as the Falcons offensive whole, you can hold those things to the Falcons offense, but you can't hold those things against Ridder. Ridder was dealing. I've completely walked back some of my takes. Development in this league, I say it a lot, is never linear, especially at the quarterback position. And Desmond Ridder took a massive leap on Sunday. Very encouraging. The worst thing that could potentially happen is Desmond Ridder just does just enough to kind of be competent, to Chase's point, where the Falcons are just kind of satisfied at the position. And then when you're kind of just satisfied with the position, this guy's not going to bring you to the promised land, but he's good enough just to keep you on that hamster wheel of being right outside the competitive teams. That's the worst thing that can happen. But you can't say anything bad about this performance from Desmond Ridder. It was the best performance of his young career by far. By far. We were talking 2 weeks ago, is this guy ever going to throw for 300 yards? And if Jonnu Smith and Bijan Robinson didn't fumble, I promise you, he'd be over 350 and closer to 400 than 350. So, hat tips to this guy. Hat tips to Arthur Smith, the Falcons offense. Everybody looked good. And the defense again. I mean, what can we say about this Falcons defense? Top 10 unit by far. Should have had an interception. C.J. Stroud should have thrown his first pick. Jesse Bates dropped it. But this defense is for real. Good enough to carry this team to the playoffs, especially if Desmond Ridder does what he did on Sunday for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, we had 7 catches from Kyle Pitts, 6 or 7 catches from Drake London. Jonnu Smith had another big game. Like it was, I wasn't used to seeing that. Now I was like watching on my phone, so I was like in and out, and like the first half I'm just keeping up with the score, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's like 9-7 or whatever, and like it feels like the offense isn't really clicking. But the way he played in that second half and the way he carried this team to victory, I mean, super, super impressive. And hopefully it's just something where he can build momentum. Obviously, we got another home game up next against the Commanders, who we saw their secondary against Justin Fields. It's another opportunity for Desmond Ridder to build off what he did this week. And if he can put a couple back-to-back in a row, hopefully he starts building some confidence, momentum, and he looks like a competent quarterback. Because like you said, this defense is unbelievable. And this offense still has the potential to be good with these skill positions, especially as Kyle Pitts. Hopefully he keeps getting healthier and stuff like that. Bijan Robinson, superstar. Drake London, really good. And Cordell Patterson getting healthier as well.
Yeah, one thing I definitely wanted to point out is when they were going downfield to Kyle Pitts, he had that one drop on the sideline, but it was a tough catch. The guy is human, but I'm back to where I was, like, I guess year one, to where it's just like, all right, just throw this guy the ball. Like he's going to come down with it. It's not a 50-50 ball with him. It's a 70-30 ball. Even Drake London too. Drake London's great with the jump ball. But I see Kyle Pitts, like, even if he's just kind of covered, he still has a chance. And I think it's just malpractice at this point for him to not get at least 7 targets a game. I mean, you got to throw this guy the ball.
Yeah, force feeding a 6'6" freak is never a bad idea, to Jake's point. I mean, literally, it doesn't matter the concept. If he's in one-on-one coverage, you got to give your guy a chance to go make a play. He's the highest drafted tight end in NFL history. The guy's going to make a play or two. And he absolutely did. Vintage Kyle Pitts performance, which is crazy to say nowadays. Best performance since his rookie year outside of a week 3 contest last year against the Seahawks. It's really good to see. The offense was clicking as a whole. No sacks. Good job on the offensive line. Though the Falcons didn't bring down C.J. Stroud, they had pressure on him. They had pressure on him all afternoon. Just like we've been saying, the sacks haven't come, but the pressure rate is there, and those are just as effective. They forced, I think, 6 3-and-outs. Held the Texans offense to around 30% on third down conversions. I mean, this Falcons defense is the best of my lifetime. And honestly, I don't even know if it's close. If Ridder can just build off this and just protect the football, I know we turned the ball over twice, but they weren't on Ridder. I mean, we win the NFC South. I know the Saints looked really good against a terrible Pats team, and the Bucks have overachieved to this point. Yeah. But I think the Bucks are a little fake, a little phony for right now. We'll see. But I mean, I feel so confident where we stood preseason on the Saints. Pete Carmichael and that offense looked decent against the Pats, but that is not going to be the case when we have to match up for them. What's going to come down to is Desmond Ridder. Can you make a play on that great Saints defense? I feel really good where we're at right now. Contrary to popular belief, the sky was not falling last week. In the NFL, anybody can win on any given Sunday, as we've seen. And it's just good to see the Falcons build some momentum. I did want to say one thing that, like, this has got to be huge for the locker room. You know, all these veterans, you know, the Jesse Bates, Calais Campbell, or the young superstars, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Mac Hollins even, going to bat for Ridder. You know, he's our guy. And it's hard to get up to the podium and actually believe what you're saying when you just watched the stinker he put up against Jacksonville and London the other week. This has got to be big for the confidence in the locker room in Ridder. It's got to be huge, a performance like this, especially the game-winning drive on the line. Huge for the cohesion in the locker room.
Coincidence or not that the Falcons offense took off in the second half when Caleb McCary got injured?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
That's a bad contract. I'm glad there's an out because he's bad. Like, dude, he was like on his knees just half of that game, just lunging at people. Like, he just looked helpless out there. Oh, one last thing I want to point out from this game too. Within the Falcons, I don't know whose idea it was to do like the sky cam and Mercedes-Benz that like tracks the players and shows the overhead angle. Great, good. You deserve a raise, probably a promotion. I don't know if you saw the Bijan Robinson one today. They like tracked the touchdown when he like caught it behind his back. It's actually so sick.
I haven't.
Bijan Robinson does something it's almost become like every single drive at this point, but it's certainly once a game where he does something and you're just like, oh, this guy's not human. This guy's not for real. I mean,
his cuts are unbelievable.
Unbelievable. His dead leg where he can just
yeah.
Oh my God. It is unbelievable. I mean, that guy is a superstar.
He juked that guy out of his jock strap, and he didn't even have and he had the ball pinned to his leg. Like
that video, that video that I'm talking about, you can see like as soon as he touches the ball, he turns his head
looking
forward.
upfield.
He barely has the ball, and he does not even have the ball in his possession. He does not look at the ball again, and he just right in the end zone. It was so
he
sick.
is a freak.
I mean, he makes defenders get embarrassed like on a weekly basis, like 5 times. Yeah. I mean, it really is crazy. Coming up after the break, we are going to discuss the Week 6 college football slate and what happened this past weekend.
Watch the video.